I think we have to be lucid on our situation. Europe is no more the top priority of the US. The US top priority is US, which is normal and fair. The second top priority is China. And for the rest, it depends on the moment. They are super loyal and reliable partner on Ukraine. Will it last? I don't know. But let's be clear, at the same time, in Afghanistan, we didn't have the call before. And in the AUKUS deal in Australia, I didn't have the call before. But it's not a reproach. I try to be lucid. The EU is not the priority of the US. And this is why part of the wake-up call period of time we are living, and part of what we have to completely reshape, is our defense and security strategy. We are part of NATO, no discussion. We are a strong ally of the US, no discussion. But we have to de-risk our model from the US agenda.
This is my video update on this Friday afternoon, October the 4th, coming to you from Nicosia, Cyprus. Let's talk about some news. And let's start things off with, how about with the official confirmation from the Russian Ministry of Defense that Vuhledar has been captured. It is now official. The Russian MOD has announced the capture of Vuhledar, though they frame it as the liberation of Vuhledar. That is what the Russian Ministry of Defense says in their announcement. So that's a quick update there. And let's now talk about Macron. Macron was in, I believe he was in Berlin. And interesting to hear Macron speak English. I don't think I've ever heard him speak English, or maybe I have, and I've just forgotten. But Macron at an event in Berlin, I believe it's Berlin, and you could see the panic in Macron's eyes. Reality hitting Macron, which is that the collective West, they are losing. They are losing it. They are losing it. They have lost it in Ukraine. And the United States may abandon Europe, may abandon Macron. He is very afraid, very worried about a U.S. pivot to Asia and to China in his statement in English. Macron said that the number one priority of the United States is the United States, and the number two priority is China. Are you sure, Macron, that the number one priority of the United States is the United States? Are you positive? I don't know. Tell that to the people suffering in the United States from Hurricane Helene. The reports are that they will only be receiving $750 from the U.S. government. Is that right? That can't be right. That can't be right. I don't buy that. I can't believe that. But it does line up with what happened in Hawaii, so I don't know. But Macron claims that the number one priority of the U.S., and when he means the U.S., he means the U.S. elites, right? The political class. Their number one priority is the United States. Their number two priority is China. According to Macron, they're very loyal when it comes to Project Ukraine. But he said this could change. He said it could change. When he means they're very loyal when it comes to Project Ukraine, what Macron means is that the United States has given a lot of money to the political class involved in Project Ukraine. That is what he means when he says they've been very loyal. They've been very loyal with Project Ukraine. That's his way of saying they've received a lot of money from the United States for Project Ukraine. But yeah, that could change according to Macron. He said that Europe, the EU could die. That is what Macron said. The EU could die. Oh my God. Say it ain't so. We don't want anything to happen to the European Union. Oh no. Oh no. That is the warning from Macron. But Macron, he has a solution. He has a solution. What Europe needs to do is it needs to cut down on regulations. It needs to innovate. Europe needs to innovate because it is falling behind China and the United States. And most importantly for Macron is that Europe, the EU, needs more EU. More EU is the cure to the EU dying. The EU caused all of the problems in Europe, and the way to solve all of the problems in Europe is to have more EU, more centralization in Brussels, more power in Brussels. That's how you can prevent the demise of the EU. And the French defense minister, what's the dude's name? Lacarnou, I believe is his name. He said that the number one enemy of France in an interview is Russia. Russia is the number one enemy, according to the French defense minister. Yep, Russia, enemy number one. France is the number 2 or number 3, the number 3 donor to Project Ukraine, weapons and money to Project Ukraine, so that Project Ukraine can fight against Russia and destabilize Russia. The plan was to cause regime change in Russia, and France was all in for the past 3 years, absolutely all in. But it's Russia that's France's enemy. Anyway, that is what the defense minister of France said. And we have a EU defense commissioner. Did you guys know that Ursula, when she was reappointed as EU Presidente, she created a position, a brand new shiny position known as the EU Commissioner of Defense and Space, because the EU, they are thinking about space. That is what the EU is thinking about. And this EU Defense Commissioner, he is very, very anti-Russian. Does not like Russia. Doesn't like Russia. He's from Lithuania. I believe he was the Prime Minister of Lithuania. Maybe even Prime Minister twice. 2 times for Lithuania. What's the dude's name? I forgot the guy's name, but he is not a fan of Russia. Not a fan at all. He's been calling for escalation and conflict with Russia from even before the special military operation. The dude's name is Andrius Kubilius. Andrius Kubilius. And he is telling the European Union that in the next 10 years, I think he said 10 years, the European Union is going to probably, maybe, perhaps fight a war with Russia. The EU needs to prepare for a war with Russia. And as Defense Commissioner of the European Union, his solution is more money to the military-industrial complex. A defense commissioner calling for more money to the military-industrial complex. Big surprise. Big, big, big surprise. He said, we must be ready to meet Russia militarily. In 6 to 8 years, Kubilius maintained. The EU, in complementing NATO and together with its member states, must boost defense production, stock up reserves, and continue helping Ukraine. According to the MEP, Brussels' adversaries were watching closely whether the bloc was going to succeed or fail in this endeavor. This guy in 2023, this guy Kubilius, he actually penned penned a document suggesting that the EU adopt a new sweeping strategy to pursue a change of power in Russia, saying it would work with democratic forces in and outside the country to topple the current leadership and establish a transitional government. Wow. Interesting statement from the new defense commissioner. Topple the government of Russia and create a transitional government. Work with democratic forces. That's right. Democratic forces. Work with democratic forces to topple the government of Russia. That's how democracy works in the European Union. So his solution to go up against Russia in 6 to 8 years is to spend more money on VMIC. That's what I've been saying for a while now. The European Union, there's not much left in the European Union, not much to do in Europe, not much business left because of the deindustrialization, tourism, and maybe they're going to try to create a weapons industry. That's about it. That is about it. So that's the EU Defense Commissioner. Another clown in my clown world segment, I guess. I guess that's what's going to happen here. Anyway, let's talk about a former EU Prime Minister of Netherlands, Mark Rutte, who is now the king of NATO. He has been crowned king of NATO. And he made his first trip as the king of NATO. His first trip was to, take a wild guess. Take a wild guess. It was to Kiev. That is where he decided to go. To Kiev and to give his support, to show his support to Elensky No. 5. That's right. That is right. Rutte, he said to the media in a statement, he said that Ukraine is they're going to get into NATO. They are going to get into NATO. Make no mistake about it. Don't you dare doubt it. Ukraine will enter NATO. He didn't give a date. He didn't give a time. But he said that Ukraine's path into NATO is unstoppable. It's inevitable. And he said that Russia has no veto in the accession of Ukraine into NATO. They have no veto in Ukraine's NATO process. None whatsoever. Russia does have one way to veto the process of Ukraine entering NATO. They do have one way to stop it. Anyway, that is Rutte. There are reports from French media which claim that Zelensky's losing it. He's losing it. He's getting very frustrated with NATO. Very frustrated with the allies, the collective West allies. French media is even reporting that Zelensky is shouting. He is shouting, raising his voice at allies like Mark Rutte. He wants weapons. He wants money. He wants long-range missile strikes. He wants a no-fly zone. Yeah, he wants a no-fly zone. He demands a no-fly zone. More money, more weapons, permission to launch long-range missiles into Russia, and he wants NATO to shoot down Russian drones and missiles and anything that flies over Ukraine territory. That is what he is asking. And basically, Elensky is equating what happened in Israel and how the United States and various other countries they worked together to track and shoot down Iranian drones and missiles heading towards Israel. And he said that this is no different than what he is asking for Ukraine. A no-fly zone is what he is asking for. That is exactly what he is asking for NATO to provide a no-fly zone. In Ukraine, Poland, Romania, and that's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. NATO has already denied him of this in the past. And Rutte, he denied him of this during his time in Kiev. Rutte actually said that if NATO member states want to shoot down Russian missiles over Ukraine, he said they can go ahead and do it. But they're doing it on their own, not as a part of NATO. And he also said if NATO member states want to allow Ukraine to launch long-range missiles into Russian territory, he said that they are welcome to do this, but they are acting on their own, not as NATO. And Russia has warned many times that if long-range missiles enter Russian territory, if NATO dares to create, or any country actually dares to create or to enforce some sort of no-fly zone, they will be a party to the conflict. But that was the ask from Elensky. And according to French media, he's getting very, very frustrated. He's shouting. He's raising his voice at NATO allies. He wants money, weapons, long-range missiles, and no-fly zones. And he ain't getting it, at least not yet. And the Times UK, they put out an article with the title, Conscription Tactics Get Dirty as War-Weary Ukrainians Defy Draft. In this article from the Times UK, they state that Ukraine's military is or was a million soldiers, or they've recruited over the conflict 1 million soldiers, and now they are pushing to recruit another 200,000, and they're having trouble meeting these goals because Ukrainians don't want to fight Russia anymore. They use the case of offices in Odessa, conscription offices in Odessa, telling the Times that their target goal, their recruitment target goal, has only achieved 20%. They've only met 20% of their goals, and they're having a very difficult time finding people to join the military and to fight Russia. Elensky is even asking for NATO to sweeten the deal for fighting in the military, for joining the military, in increasing the salaries of new recruits, of soldiers. He wants NATO, Elensky wants NATO to pay more. If NATO pays more, then they'll be able to meet the 200,000 mark. That is what the Times is reporting. So let's shift gears and discuss what is happening in the Middle East, And Al Jazeera, they put out a very interesting article where they talk about how Iran, via Qatar, passed a note along to the United States. And the note, according to Al Jazeera, this is what Al Jazeera is reporting, the note tells the United States that unilateral self-restraint is over. That is a quote. Unilateral self-restraint is over. It hasn't worked. It hasn't protected the national interests of Iran, and it is coming to an end. According to Al Jazeera, the note states once again that Iran does not want a war with Israel or with the United States, but if it is attacked, it will use an unconventional response. And Al Jazeera claimed that what Iran might do is they might hit energy infrastructure and other types of facilities in response to an attack against Iran. That is what this note allegedly told the United States. That is what Al Jazeera is reporting. And we are getting reports that Israel's retaliation to Iran's retaliation, Israel's response to Iran's response, however you want to call it, may be in such a way, may be done in such a way to avoid escalation in a wider war. That is what some reports are saying. In other words, it may look like the Biden White House, if you believe these reports, has managed to convince Netanyahu that when and if he retaliates, to make it in such a way so as a wider regional war is avoided and the de-escalation process can begin. That is what some reports are saying. Actually, Biden, the professor, he even said that a war can be avoided. That is what Professor Biden said. Let me get you his quote. U.S. President Joe Biden said Thursday that we can avoid all-out war in the Middle East as Israel bombarded Hezbollah strongholds in Lebanon and weighed retaliation for an Iranian missile attack. Quote, I don't believe there is going to be an all-out war. I think we can avoid it, he told reporters at the White House when asked how confident he was that full-blown war in the region could be averted. The Iranian president was in Qatar, which is why I believe this reporting from Al Jazeera is accurate. But the Iranian president was in Qatar yesterday, and he was meeting with the Saudi foreign minister. And the statement from the Saudi foreign minister is pretty interesting. The Saudi foreign minister voiced his country's determination to develop relations with Iran. Quote, we seek to close the page of differences between the two countries forever and work towards the resolution of our issues and expansion of our relations like two friendly and brotherly states, he said. So splitting Saudi Arabia from their path of rapprochement with Iran is not happening. It looks like Saudi Arabia and Iran are moving together to create stronger diplomatic ties, a stronger relationship, and together moving towards BRICS, right? That is what the Saudi foreign minister said as he was meeting with the Iranian president. So So what else do we have to talk about? Should I do one more story? I think I have time. Talk about another news item. Something's going down in Hungary. The European Union, I believe, is going to take Hungary to court. It's going to sue Hungary because of the foreign agents law that Hungary passed. Something like that. The foreign agents law, which tries to prevent uprisings and regime changes by identifying the NGOs and think tanks that are receiving their money from abroad. Specifically in the case of Hungary, what concerns Orban is money from Soros. That would be my guess. I think that's what's going on here. Maybe I'm wrong about this reporting, but the EU is not happy about the foreign agents law, and they are saying that it subverts EU law, it subverts democracy, EU democracy, and they're taking Hungary to court. Let me see if I got this story right. Let's see if I'm reporting this accurately. From Lord Bibo, EU sues Hungary due to foreign agent laws. The West can't set up a color revolution, so they sue Orban. You can't make this up. It's true, isn't it? They can't overthrow Orban, so they're going to sue him. That's one way to do it, I guess. The European Commission said on Thursday that the foreign influence laws violated fundamental rights and freedoms. The European Commission decided to refer Hungary to the Court of Justice because it considers its national law on the defense of sovereignty to be in breach of EU law. And the article from Al Jazeera is EU takes Hungary to European Court of Justice over sovereignty laws. The European Commission says the sovereignty law breached a series of rights enshrined in European Union law. How dare you, Hungary? How dare you try to prevent color revolutions? Who do you think you are, trying to prevent our ability to organize color revolutions? So undemocratic, man. It really is undemocratic. Oh, man. All right. I think we could do a clown world. Here's an article from Bild. Coca-Cola closes 5 German locations. Is that true? Is that true? Is Coca-Cola leaving Germany? Energy prices are too high. What's going on here? Another effect of Gilligan and the skipper blowing up Nord Stream? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. No need to worry, people of Europe, people of Germany. The European Union is going to make weapons. Lots of weapons. That's going to be the #1 industry in Europe. Weapons, weapons, weapons. But weapons also need energy. I don't know how they're going to do it. I've got one more story. One more story that I'm trying to remember. It has to do with the EU and France. I was reading in Politico. I know what it is. I was reading in Politico that France is wanting to get more oversight, more control over the European Commission's 35 billion loan to Ukraine. That's not a good sign for Elensky. What did I say in my video yesterday? That so many of the countries in Europe are now trying to figure out ways to detach from Project Ukraine. It looks like France is also one of them. Yeah, so they're telling the European Commission, you know, the 35 billion that we're going to give to Project Ukraine, let's put more oversight and more controls and maybe not give that money to Elensky so quickly. Elensky's going to be mad. You thought Elensky was shouting when Rutte was there in Kiev, according to French media. You thought he was angry with Rutte and NATO. Ooh, is he going to be angry with the EU? I'm not getting my 35 alien? Podolyak. My head is gonna explode. Anyway, let's do a clown world, and we'll wrap this video up. And Boris Johnson, in his memoirs, man, these memoirs, I gotta pick up a copy of this book, man. I really gotta pick up a copy of Boris Johnson's memoirs. Anyway, he said in his memoirs that in 2017, when Bibi came to visit him and had to go to the loo and drop a deuce. Oh man. Anyway, so Boris Johnson. So Bibi, according to Boris, this is all according to Boris. This is in his book. And Bibi went to the bathroom, and then Boris claims that when the meeting with Netanyahu ended, he found a bug in the bathroom, in the toilet. Can't make this stuff up, man. You really cannot make this stuff up. This guy was the Prime Minister of the UK. Boris Johnson was the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. My God. Here is the Telegraph. Boris Johnson claims bugging device found in his bathroom after Netanyahu visit. Former PM writes in memoir, "Tither Bibi repaired for a while, and I am told later they found a device in the Thunderbox." Thunderbox. Is that what he calls his toilet? Thunderbox? I don't know. Oh my God. He was the Prime Minister of the UK, this guy. Anyway, that's the video, the Duran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, ODYSEE, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and Twitter X. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch like the shirt I am wearing today with the flag of Bulgaria, and remember to follow me on my other channels, on other platforms like Twitter. I've got a Twitter account, and on Rumble, definitely, if you can, follow me on Rumble and Telegram and ODYSEE and BitChute, whichever platform is most comfortable for you. That's the video, everybody. Take care.